Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Farm Conversations. So this specific topic we are going to be discussing today is one of those things that destabilize a lot of families, like it disintegrates a lot of families. It's a very big contentious issue. I have Isa Muhindo Mohonja. I have that name right.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, this time I got it right.
You did prep for it.
Yes, I know. Thanks for joining me again. And what we are going to be discussing is mainly toxicity among relatives. And what do I mean by this? I mean, there are those relatives that you love, but then you kind of also hate, because they are the kind of relatives that when there are family events, when there are issues within the family, they are the ones that cause the most conflict. To be more specific, where does toxicity among family members come from, in your opinion?
In simple terms, family are those people, what we understand as family, are those people that you are related to by blood.
Right.
Either from same father, same mother, and the extended family. Now there is nuclear family that is that comprises of the father, mother, and their children. That's nuclear.
Yes.
Then there is the extended family, which has the father, mother, their children, nuclear, then and their relatives, the uncles, cousins and all that becomes an extended family. Now, the biggest problem is in the extended family.
What do you mean by that?
The more the people, the more the conflict. The fewer the people, the lesser the conflict. The conflict will be there, but it will be lesser.
Really?
Yes.
Are you saying then that you wouldn't have conflict in that kind of arrangement?
You would have them, but they are easier to manage.
When it's same mother, same father, is that what you're saying?
Yes. Although sometimes it is absurd that people of same mother clash terribly, but it is, and that's why it is news. We expect those who are not from the same mother to clash, obviously, for obvious reasons. But when it's a much smaller family, it is easier to manage. It is easier to reconcile.
What causes this? Because you see why I'm asking this is because the assumption is that family is meant to, like you said earlier, to lift you up, to kind of encourage you, when you're down, to lift you up when you have challenges, for advice and all these things. It's never the case. Chances are that you'll have 20% the lifting up and the 80% the stepping on you. So where do you think this comes from?
Even in the beginning, for those who read the Bible, Abel and Cain, the story of Abel and Cain, a brother killed a brother. So jealousy is the first thing. Jealousy among siblings is one of the things that causes, misunderstanding.
And where does jealousy come from in your opinion?
It is just...
It's built in them. Bro.
It's inbuilt.
Sometimes as parents, we don't have the right tools on how to parent. Like, I'll give you an example. I have 3 children. Right now I have 3 children. And if I show one of them more affection, more love, and more privilege than the other 2, or if I show 2 and leave 1 out, and this carries on, until their adult life, or maybe early, in their teens. I do believe that sometimes that is also like a reason as to why when I leave, or when both of us leave, me and my wife leave, that how do you call it? That resentment, could stay in the children. And the 2 could actually easily gang up on the one, or the one could easily gang up on the. Don't you think that's also a valid
somehow yes, but you see, naturally, even if you have 5 children, it is obvious as a parent or as a human being definitely you love someone more than the rest.
Right.
It's just obvious. Now the danger is in even actually showing that person that you love them more is not very bad. The problem is rubbing it in the face of the others.
Yeah.
Okay? And comparing them to him. Why don't you be like so and so? He's better. You're almost a failure. This. You are incubating severe hatred in the children. Yes. And then also, showing signs that someone who is going to take on after me is this one. And you tell it to the children directly. That should be in a will.
How does that then impact how basically the sibling dynamics, once the head of the house has actually passed away?
If you have been unfair enough to show the rest of the siblings that you trust this one, most of the sensitive things, you send that very one, you even compare them to him, and make him a yardstick that why don't you be like your brother, why don't you be like your sister, in their faces, you are incubating a lot of hatred, just like I already told you. That is where parents fail to make wills.
Right. That's an interesting point also. It's like making a will versus not making a will. There is having a will and not having a will. And you see, having a will is what would be ideal.
Yes.
Yeah. But many people, many people actually die without wills.
Yes.
Either because they've done it deliberately,
Yes.
or, circumstances,
Yes.
irrespective,
Yes.
with a will or without a will. And I'm trying to understand, with what we've just been talking about, with the children, you showing the favorite, like how does that impact, the sibling dynamics once, for example, there is a will? If there is a will, what will happen? Like, will everything be straightforward and, clean? There won't be any rivalries, or, is it the opposite?
If you transfer that love for one child and import it into the will, in some cases, the children will respect the will, but the hatred will continue, and it will divide your family for good.
Right.
Now, first of all, why do some people not make wills? Why don't some people make wills? Some people think that when they make a will, they are cursing themselves that they are going to die soon.
Interesting.
Some people think like that. Actually, some people don't like discussing death. Let it just come as a surprise. But it's a reality, and there is an impact. So how about you prepare for that? Yes, because you're going to die. Yeah. Some people just fear making a will. If I make a will, what if I die? No, it's not the one that kills you, but trying to,
need to get those kind of
that kind of thing like we were discussing. Some others don't make wills deliberately. They just say, I will not make a will.
For what specific reason, you think?
Some of the reasons, they have educated the children have gotten jobs, they have made it in life, and they have neglected them. So,
the children have neglected the parents.
The parents says that, let them do what they want. Yes. Some parents fail to make wills. They fail to make a decision. They
fail to make the wills because they failed to make the decision.
Yes.
Right.
To whom should I bequeath what? Fails many parents. Some parents don't have the firm decision. He might observe and look at his children and say, now, for example, the firstborn should be my heir. But the firstborn is a hooligan. So how can I make the firstborn a hooligan, a heir? Now, when I make the secondborn the heir, the firstborn will kill the secondborn. There will be conflict. Right. So he's caught up between that, right, and ends up not making a will, for example.
Interesting. So basically then...
Or the boys from whom I should choose a heir are hooligans. And the girls who cannot be my heirs are better organized.
Right.
So he fails to make a decision. I can't leave my assets. If I leave all my assets to the girls who are organized, the boys will say no. If I leave it to the boys are going to blow it up.
Right, and also culturally, there's this African thing where the girls, it's a very patrilineal culture that we have. But tell me this then, with or without a will, like in relation to, say, religion and culture, to be more specific, with religion, with Islam, I mean, I am a Muslim, you're a Muslim as well. In Islam, there are regulations and laws that govern inheritance in Islam. So whether you have a will or you don't have a will, it is clearly stated in the Holy Quran that this is exactly what you have, this is exactly how you need to distribute your wealth or distribute the late's wealth.
The Sharia is clear. But unfortunately, some families choose to neglect it because it gives the male child more wealth, more inheritance than the female child. So some just put shame out of themselves and say, no, it's not fair. But it is one of the best, methods of distributing.
There is the assumption is that you, the late estate should be sold, and then it's the money that is actually distributed among the beneficiaries. Because I can see a very complicated situation where there were buildings, there was land, there was businesses. I mean, how do you quantify that and say, okay, this is the amount, and then we are?
The Holy Quran gives you an equation.
A percentage.
Yeah. So basing on that, you don't need to sell the whole estate and share money. You can as well value the estate and share the shares.
Right.
According to the Sharia.
With or without a will, do you think conflicts are still inevitable?
Well, where we do not have a will, where the deceased passes on without making a will, is where we have the most conflict. But we also have conflict on the other side, although more manageable than this side, where there is no will.
Did your father leave a will?
No, he didn't.
Are there conflicts in your family because of not leaving a will?
Yes.
Very many.
Very many. Very fatal. Not many. Fatal.
That's actually what I was going to ask now. What are the outcomes of not having a will, of not leaving a will?
Now, you give gap to greedy relatives, grabbing what your beneficiary should take.
Right.
Uncles can claim, aunties can claim, friends can claim, close friends, managers and all that. If you have been doing business, if you're an entrepreneur, you give gap. Even some members of the family, beneficiaries, can begin telling lies and say, the late said this, the late said that, the late gave me this, the late gave me that. The late cannot come back and say no or yes. But when you leave a will, you have either bequeathed your assets to the respective beneficiaries directly, or you have left it in one block and told them how to manage it.
Right. But in your case, you as Muslims, wasn't there an option of going to the Sharia?
Actually, for example, my father's will, not written, he would have wished that his estate is distributed according to the Islamic law, right, the Sharia. But there were some technicalities that caused us to stay away from the Sharia.
Still here with Muhindo, we're talking about inheritance. We're talking about the toxicity of relatives. There are those relatives that, that you love to hate. But I think the major reason we were trying to discuss was how does that impact on everyone's, well-being? Like, how much stress can these kind of situations actually cause, for you? In your case, like, how did all this really impact you?
First of all, it has taken 12 years since my father passed away.
Right.
We have never solved anything.
Wow. 12 years.
12 years. We think that this year we might solve, but we are not so sure.
Right.
We are not so sure. We are willing, we want to, we pray that it goes well, but we are not so sure whether it will actually go the way we...
In the most fairest way, I guess.
We are not so sure.
Right. Farm Conversations with me, Sadiq Mugisha. I have today's guest, Issa Muhindo Mhonja, and we're just talking about toxicity in the family and how that impacts, general well-being. Issa, so what's your final words on this specific topic?
Well, I would appeal to heads of families. One, do not show who your favorite child is. Do not, rub it in the faces of the other siblings. It incubates a lot of hatred. It causes a lot of hatred. And sometimes that hatred comes in when you're no longer there.
Right, true.
Two, try as much as possible to be very clear to your family members. If you are a Muslim, you have a right of marrying more than one, maximum 4. Make it very clear that I have 4 wives, name them, and ask your children to respect them.
Right.
If anything, be strong enough, because the Baganda say ataina manyi tagwa ddalu. So if you can...
What does that mean?
Madness is for the strong. They can keep beating you. If you are weak, don't run mad. So if you feel you want to marry more than one wife, take on and own up what comes with it.
Right.
Call for a meeting, call your brothers, call your sisters, call your children, and make sure you are in control of your wives. If you can think that wife so-and-so cannot sit in the same room with so-and-so.
While you're still alive, like when you pass away, what's going to happen?
You're already failing.
True.
Put them right. Make them respect you. They must respect you.
Right.
Yes, sit them in, talk to them. This is my wife, I've married her. This is the first wife, she's the first wife, she's not going to be the second. Respect her. This is my other wife, she's also my wife, I've married her. You children, these are my women. These are your mothers. You women don't separate my children. You children don't separate on the basis of the jealousy of your mothers.
Right.
Be as firm as that. If you're not firm and you keep dodging, when you're not there, you cause a problem.
True.
So, and put that in your will. I have bequeathed, first of all, I am so-and-so, in sound mind, blah, blah, blah. You know how they make wills.
Yeah.
Mention your wives by name and the order.
Right.
Mention your children. Don't even say this one is the child of so-and-so. Just say the children,
Right.
the number of children in their order. Appoint trustees. Appoint, suggest administrators according to the capacity of your children. Make it clear. Say, I have this wealth. This plot so-and-so, plot this, in this place, in this place, in this place. And make sure they know where those assets are. Next, if you want to bequeath in the will.
Right.
Don't say sit down and share. No, if you want to bequeath
specific.
in the will and say I have bequeathed plot so and so, Acacia Avenue, blah blah blah, to so and so, because it's your will. It is what you want. It's not an opinion. It's your empire. Those are your assets. You choose who to give. They don't choose who should take.
Right.
If you want to bequeath them in the will. If you want it, in a block, make a company, put all the assets in a company, give them shares.
Right.
And in your will, just make it much simpler.
Right.
My assets are in such a company, I have shares, share my shares according to this, but you have made it more clear.
Right. I hear
With
you.
that, you will have less. You will not have.
You will not have.
No. You will have less conflict.
Right.
Manageable conflict.
Right.
But of course, you will not evade conflict to zero.
I understand that. So then in conclusion, while we're closing this, how do you overcome toxicity in these families, whether it is because of no will, whether it's because of parents who are favoring a few children? Like, how do you handle this kind of toxicity, as a man and, as a family? Because, it's very important to maintain family irrespective of whatever happens. Yeah. So how do you, in your opinion, how do you handle this kind of, conflicts?
One, don't react to rumors. Hear, listen, analyze, but don't act immediately.
Right. Don't act on emotion, is what you're saying.
No. Rumors are good because they can alert you of what is happening here and there. Don't say, I don't want to. If you don't have evidence, don't tell me. You'll die for nothing. You have to listen.
True.
You have to listen, get to know the dynamics, get to know the tricks. Okay, this one is saying this one is saying this. The topic is similar. Sit down, keep quiet, analyze, observe.
Right.
Or observe, analyze. Then you react.
Right.
Hello, Issa, how are you? Sadiq has said you're a thief. You stole Muzei's land in... Then you pick up your... Sadiq, when did I become a thief? No. Are you sure Sadiq said that?
Yeah, that's very, very valuable.
Are you sure Sadiq said it? First of all, is Sadiq friends with the one who is telling you? What if Sadiq, the other one who is telling you, is trying to, create a gap between you and Sadiq?
I understand.
So, listen, observe, analyze, conclude, then react.
Right. Farm Conversations, Sadiq Mugisha here. Issa Muhindo Muhonja. I have that name now for sure. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. Very beautiful discussion we had today, and I guess very valuable. Bro, I think you need to come back next weekend so we can, talk a little bit more about this specific topic and general well-being, talk about content production and all these things. Okay?
I'll be very available.
Cool. Thanks again for coming through, bro. Camera A has Brandon. Camera B has Musa.